All right, well, fifth graders, we are continuing along here in chapter 6, looking at lesson 6.7 today. Once again, we just have some long division problems we're going to be looking at. All the problems today, 2 digits is the divisor, 3 digits is the dividend. So we're just going to kind of once again remember that process: divide, multiply, subtract, bring down, start over. All right, that should be pretty familiar to us. And once again, as long as we can start over, we have to go back and divide, which means a number needs to go back up here on top. So we're looking at 295 divided by 42. And of course, we want to round 42 to the greatest place value so we can work with some smaller numbers. That's going to be 40. The 4 is in the greatest place value. The 2 tells us to round down. So the 4 stays a 4, the 2 becomes a 0. And of course, when I multiply, I'll be multiplying by 42. I want to use the smaller number 4. 4 cannot go into 2. 4 can go into 29. I do know that 42 can't go into 2. 42 cannot go into 29. But 42 can go into 295. And the idea I'm after is that I believe that the same number of times that 4 can go into 29 is the same or very close to the same number of times that 42 can go into 295. Well, 4 can go into 29 7 times. So I know that 4 times 7 is 28. So the first thing I want to try is 42 times 7, just to see what that gives me. Since 4 can go into 29 7 times. 7 times 2 is 14. Put the 4 down, carry the 1. 7 times 4 is 28. Plus 1 is 29. I get 294. Well, that looks pretty good, seeing as my number here is 295. And it's less, so that will work. So I'm going to proceed with confidence. And of course, I have to put my 7 above the 5, because I'm saying that 42 can go into 295 7 times. I know that 42 times 7 is 294. So I'm going to go ahead and put 294 here. After I multiply, I subtract. 5 minus 4 is 1. That's going to be 0. That's going to be 0. So the answer is 1. And I'm totally okay with having 1 as the answer to a subtraction problem when I'm dividing by 42. And there are no numbers left to bring down. So very clearly, 1 is my remainder. All right, let's look at this next one. 300, well, not 300, 30 going into 590. 590 divided by 30. Well, this is already rounded, so I can just think of 3. And I know that 30 can't go into 5, but it can go into 59. And I think the number of times that 3 can go into 5 is going to be the same number of times, or very close to the same number of times, that 30 can go into 59. Well, I know that 3 can go into 5 once, and if I think of 30 times 1, that gives me 30. And so since I'm using my zeros trick, I can go 30 times 2, and that gives me 60. Well, that's too big for 59. 60 is bigger than 59. So I can proceed with a good level of confidence that 30 can go into 59 one time. After I divide, I multiply. 1 times 30 is 30. 59 minus 30. 9 minus 0 is 9. 5 minus 3 is 2. I get 29, which is almost 30, but it's still less than 30. So I'm okay with that as an answer to my subtraction problem. After I subtract, I bring down, so it's the 0 left to bring down. And I'm going to think how many times 3 can go into 29, because I think the number of times that 3 can go into 29 is the same number of times that 30 can go into 290. That makes sense because it's both just zeros. So 3 can go into 3 can go into 29 9 times, because I know that 3 times 9 is 27. Well, that tells me that 30 times 9 then is going to be 270, because the 3 times 9 is 27, add the 0, I get 270. So I'm going to proceed here with confidence that 30 can go into 290 9 times. We've already established that 9 times 3 is 27. Add the 0, since it's really 9 times 30, so I get 270. I go ahead and subtract here. 0 and 0 makes 0. 9 minus 7 is 2. 2 minus 2, 0. I end up with 20 after I subtract, and I'm okay with that because that is less than 30. There are no numbers left to bring down, and so 20 is my remainder. 19, remainder 20. Now, I've sometimes heard students say, well, Mr. Swack, that can't be right because your remainder 20 is bigger than this number 19. That's not a problem, 5th graders. The only thing the remainder needs to be smaller than is this number here. This is just how many times it can go in. Okay? And so don't think that the remainder all of a sudden has to be less than this. That's just not the case. And we have divided that correctly. All right, we have 3 more we're going to look at just to make sure we're feeling good. 829 divided by 37. 37 is going to become 40. We're going to look at the smaller number 4. The 3 is in the greatest place value. The 7 tells us to round up. So the 3 becomes a 4. Everything else becomes a 0. I think the number of times that 4 can go into 8 is the same number of times that 37 can go into 82, because I know 37 can't go into 8, but it can go into 82. So I need to figure out how many times 37 can go into 82. Well, 4 can go into 8 twice. So the first thing I want to try is 37 times 2. Well, when I do 37 times 2, 2 times 7 is 14. Put the 4 down, carry the 1. 2 times 3 is 6, plus the 1 is 7. I get 74. Well, this is now where I need to make a decision. Do I want to put a 2 up here, saying that 37 can go into 82 twice, and a 74 down here? Well, I'm thinking that 74 is pretty close to 82. It's less than 10 away, and I'm dividing by 37. So I'm feeling pretty good about putting a 2 here and a 74 there, because 37 times 2 is 74. Well, now to subtract, I can't do 2 minus 4. So I borrow from the 8, it becomes a 7. I make the 2 a 12. 12 minus 4 is 8. 7 minus 7 is 0. I have a leftover of 8. I'm dividing by 37. I'm okay with that. I'm going to go ahead then, bring down the 9, because after I subtract, I bring down, then I start over again. I go back to my smaller number 4, and I know that 37 can't go into 8, so we're trying to figure out how many times 37 can go into 89. Well, once again, I know that 4 can go into 8 2 times, so I'm going to start with 2. Never erase your scratch work, because you don't want to have to redo problems again. So once again, I'm thinking, well, what's 37 times 2? Well, that's still going to be 74. And so now I need to make a decision again. Do I want to put 2 and 74? Well, once again, 74 and 89 aren't that far away from each other. It's within 20, because I know if I add 10 more, I'm at 84. And then if I add 20, I'm at 94. So I'm within 20, and I'm dividing by 37. So I can proceed with confidence. I'm feeling pretty good about putting another 2, putting 74 again, subtracting these. 9 minus 4 is 5. 8 minus 7 is 1. Ending up with 15 after we subtract. I'm dividing by 37, so I'm feeling pretty good about that. There's nothing left to bring down, so that 15 is going to be my remainder. All right? And so just be thinking about that. And that's some more division. All right, we got a couple more problems we're going to look at. All right, 495 divided by 18. My 18 is going to become 20. I'm going to be thinking about the smaller number 2. Okay, I know that 18 can't go into 4, but 18 can go into 49. And I think the number of times that 2 can go into 4 is the same number of times that 18 can go into 49. Well, I know that 2 can go into 4 twice. So the first thing I'm going to try is 18 times 2. 2 times 8 is 16. Put the 6 down, carry the 1. 2 times 1 is 2, plus 1 is 3. So I get 36. All right. I'm not real sure whether 36 will work. It might be a little too small. So just to be safe, I'm going to go ahead and try 18 times 3. 3 times 8 is 24. Put the 4 down, carry the 2. 3 times 1 is 3, plus 2 is 5. I get 54. Well, that's too big. So now I can be sure. If you're ever not sure, just go ahead and try the next one higher or lower, depending on which way you're not sure about. And I was not sure if 36 was big enough with 18 and 49. But clearly 3 is too big, because 18 times 3 is 54. So I'm going to go ahead, my 2 above the 9, because 18 can go into 49 twice. 18 times 2 is 36. I know now that I'm going to do 49 minus 36. 9 minus 6 is 3. 4 minus 3 is 1. I'm feeling pretty good about that because 13 is less than 18. Remember, after I subtract, I bring down. My rules aren't there. But it's divide, multiply, subtract, bring down, start over. So after I subtract, it's time to bring down. I'm going to go ahead and put the 5 down. And now I'm trying to figure out how many times 18 can go into 135. Well, remember, I think the number of times that 2 goes into 13 is the same number of times that 18 can go into 135. Well, 2 can go into 13 6 times. So I'm going to try 18 times 6 because 2 can go into 13 6 times. So I'm going to try 18 times 6. 6 times 8 is 48. Put the 8 down. Carry the 4. 6 times 1 is 6. Plus 4 is 10. I get 108. I'm thinking maybe that's going to be a little small. 108 is a little distance from 135, especially when we're only talking about 18. So I'm just going to try 18 times 7. See where that brings me. 7 times 8 is 56. Put the 6 down, carry the 5. 7 times 1 is 7, plus 5 is 12. I get 126. Well, I'm feeling pretty good about that. That gets me pretty close to 135. It's less than 10 away, so I know that 18 times 8 is going to be too big. So I'm going to come up here. I'm going to put my 7. I've already established that 18 times 7 is 126. So I'm going to come over here with the 126. I do my subtraction. I can't do 5 minus 6, so I borrow from the 3. It becomes a 2. I make the 5 a 15. 15 minus 6 is 9. 2 minus 2 is 0. 1 minus 1 is 0. I end up with 9, which I'm okay with when I'm dividing by 18. Okay, because it's less than 18. There's nothing left to bring down. I end up with 27, remainder 9, and I'm feeling pretty good about that. All right, my last one, 715 divided by 24. Well, 24 is going to get rounded down to 20. I'm going to use the smaller number 2, all right, because I'm going to think that the number of times that 2 can go into 7 is the same number of times that 24 can go into 71, because I know that 24 can't go into 7. Well, 2 can go into 7 3 times. I know that because 2 times 3 is 6. So I'm going to try 24 times 3. 3 times 4 is 12. Put the 2 down, carry the 1. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 is 7. I get 72. Well, that's too big because I'm looking at 71. So if 3 is too big, logically I try 2. 24 times 2. Well, 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times 2 is 4. And so I know that 3 is too big. I'm confident in my multiplication. So I'm going to come up here. I'm going to put a 2. 24 times 2 is 48. I go ahead and subtract. I can't do 1 minus 8. I borrow from the 7. It becomes a 6. The 1 becomes an 11. 11 minus 8 is 3. 6 minus 4 is 2. And 23 is close to 24, but I'm good because 23 is less than 24. So after I subtract, I bring down, time to bring down the 5. Now I'm seeing how many times can 24 go into 235. Well, so what I'm thinking here is, I know that 24 can't go into 2, and I know that 24 can't go into 23, but I know that 24 can go into 235. Well, 2 can go into 2, and that's once. But since I was working with 24 and 235, I'm really thinking about how many times 2 can go into 23. Well, 2 can go into 23 11 times, but I'm not allowed to put an 11 up here. So when in a situation like that, you automatically have to try 9. You have to try 24 times 9. 9 times 4 is 36. Put the 6 down, carry the 3. 9 times 2 is 18, plus the 3 is 21. I'm feeling pretty good about that. 24 times 9 being 216, because I'm pretty sure I can't put a 10 up there. Plus 24 times 1 is 24. Add the 0, you get 240. So I can be confident that that's a 9. This is 216, like we figured out here, 24 times 9, 216. I go ahead and subtract. I can't do 5 minus 6. I borrow from the 3. I make it a 2. I make the 5 a 15. 15 minus 6 is 9. 2 minus 1 is 1. 2 minus 2 is 0. I'm okay getting 19 after I subtract because it's less than 24. I have nothing left to bring down, so I'm pretty confident in 29 remainder 19. All right, tomorrow some more division coming at you, 5th grade. Have a good day. Bye.